Kia ora. Well, July arrived with a great mess of snow down across the southern parts of the country. Cold air spreading across New Zealand. And as we go through the rest of today, we're going to find some more severe weather. We've got some heavy rainfall down across those southern parts of the country through parts of Southland and Clutha, and widespread severe weather warnings and watches for strong winds, particularly around the southern parts of the country and also around that western side of the North Island as well. But rather a blustery afternoon in store, and that's going to make it feel even cooler as well. Taking a look at the satellite picture, you can see we've got these showers and these areas of cloud just feeding in from the south on those strong southwesterly winds. And we've got more of that to come as we go through the rest of today for Monday and also into Tuesday and that first part of Wednesday as well. So we have got a fairly active system. You can tell by looking at these charts, it's going to be a windy one. If you're used to looking at pressure charts, you can see the sheer number of isobars there, those white lines. It does tell us it's going to be a windy story. The closer they are, the stronger the winds. And there's a fair number of those right across the country, directing a pretty strong southwesterly feed of air right the way across New Zealand. If we put on those wind speeds, you can see where's likely to get those strongest winds. So places around that western coast, up in towards parts of, say, Taranaki, up towards Auckland, Coromandel. We have a severe weather warning out for you for those stronger winds, but also down through parts of Southland, Dunedin, Clutha, around the likes of, say, the Otago Peninsula. Some more windy weather for you as well. Winds reaching gale force or even severe gale in the most exposed areas with gusts 120 kilometres an hour. We'll start off though, you can see with the rain warnings, we're focused down in the south. This is on top of that snowfall we've had through the weekend. The temperatures are rising enough, but we've still got more showers to come. Still some heavy falls to watch out for as we go through the rest of this afternoon for you. But in terms of wind, you can see it's not just focused down in the south. We have got that severe weather warning for those stronger winds for Tuesday down through parts of, say, Otago and Clutha. But you can see we've got watches as well through parts of Stewart Island, the South and Banks Peninsula, those northern parts of the South Island. And for the North Island as well, places like Wellington, Wairarapa, the whole western side of the North Island, parts of Hawke's Bay, and then even up towards Northland and Auckland. And like I said, a severe weather warning for the Coromandel as we go through towards the end of the day today. So we have got some strong winds to watch out for, but we'll start off with that heavy rain warning down in the south. We're expecting another 40 to 60 millimetres of rainfall in those mountains north of, say, Mossburn to about Balclutha. Elsewhere in the region, another 20 to 40 millimetres of rain, but I think it is looking like a rather wet few days after that wet weekend. And we are going to find some more rainfall to come as we go through the rest of this afternoon, through to around about, say, 9 o'clock or so as we go through the daytime today. Not just the wet weather, we've also got those stronger winds as well. Now, it's worth saying that although this warning is for 6 a.m. until 9 p.m. on Tuesday, we could still find some stronger winds through the likes of, say, that area as we go through the rest of this afternoon to around about 2 o'clock. Similar kind of times to that watch we've got for the rest of Southland and down towards Stewart Island. Gusts perhaps still reaching severe gale in the most exposed areas. But we'd like to find the strongest winds through this area as we go through tomorrow, where we could find those gusts 120 kilometres per hour in the most exposed areas. So it is going to be a windy story as we go through Tuesday. And it's worth saying as well, we could still find some of those stronger winds right the way through in towards Wednesday as well. So do keep an eye on these severe weather watches. As we head northwards up the South Island, you can see we've got the watch as well for the likes of, say, Banks Peninsula from about midday today through till 6 p.m. on Monday. We've also got severe weather watches as well for those strong winds, perhaps reaching a severe gale in the most exposed areas for parts of Nelson and Marlborough, mainly south of about Blenheim through the rest of the afternoon to around about 9 o'clock or so. As we cross Cook Strait up towards the North Island, you can see a vast area is covered by these strong wind watches. Rather a blustery afternoon across that North Island. We are still going to find those winds picking up in Wellington from around about 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. That's when we've got our watch for you through to the Wairarapa as well, 2 p.m. till 7 p.m. on Monday. And for those areas, say Taranaki towards the central high country and those parts of Hawke's Bay south about State Highway 5 through to about 7 p.m. on Monday as well. As we head northwards still, we've got more of those strong winds to come. Something worth bearing in mind for that evening commute across the Harbour Bridge for Auckland. We could find some stronger winds for you, perhaps again, gusts 90 to 100 kilometres an hour in those areas where we've got those watches. But I think for the likes of, say, Northland, Auckland, down towards Waikato, it's from 3 p.m. today through to about 9 p.m. on Monday. So a windier afternoon, and that's going to make it feel colder as well. You can see as well, we've also got that severe weather warning out for the Coromandel, Great Barrier Island. Gusts perhaps 120 kilometres an hour for you. And it's worth saying again, although I think we'll find they do ease off as we go through the night time, 9 p.m. on Monday. We'll find them still rather blustery as we go through in towards Tuesday as well. We could find more watches issued for these areas as we go through in towards tomorrow. It's also worth saying that we are going to find that these winds drive a fair bit of swell up from the south as well. Those purple colours showing the highest swell, 6 and 7 metre seas there. So I think it is going to be rather unsettled around the coast. Worth keeping in mind if you're heading out towards the coast. Keep up to date with the marine forecast. You can find all of those on the Met Service website. But as I said, we're still looking at some pretty windy weather for Tuesday. Those isobars still really clustered together. More strong winds, perhaps gales or even severe gales in the most exposed areas, particularly around those southern and western places. As we head through towards Wednesday, high pressure builds in. We should find things become a little bit more settled, and also those isobars, those lines of equal pressure, opening up and the winds easing off as we head through towards the middle and end of the week. But for the next couple of days at least, keep an eye on the forecast. We've got some strong winds coming through from many parts of the country and still more wet weather down in the far south as well. That's it from me. This is from metservice.com.